Evening, masses. Pre-warning on this episode. Dave was recording in his car out on the street because he works all the hours God sends, trying to fit this review in this afternoon. It's been an absolute nightmare, but we have done it. Again, just a pre-warning. There's a lot of scratchy material. There's a lot of pauses. There's a lot of absentees in terms of Dave, but you kind of get our message of what we saw at the weekend. So we won't be as bad tomorrow when we do our Canelo versus Crawford and Inoue versus MJ previews. But yeah, just a pre-warning. Hope you enjoy this episode as well. There are laughs along the way. So yeah, watch and enjoy. And we're on. Hello and welcome to podcast episode 142 of Robodope Boxing. The 2 days are back to bring you a review of everything that happened from the world of boxing at the weekend. If you're new to the channel, please like, share and subscribe. Where's my little thumbnail? It will pop up now for those watching on YouTube. There we go. Anybody that is watching on YouTube rather than Spotify, even though you can watch on Spotify, you will remember from last week, Dave was in sounded like an airport, but it was actually in a coffee shop because he's working all hours under the sun. If you're watching now, you can see he's out and about walking somewhere. Is he going to the airport? Is he come out from the airport? Is he still working 24/7? Where are you? And what the fuck are you doing while we're recording this, brother?
I'm actually trying to get home from the tube strike, which absolutely crippled London.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
So I've got my car in today, so I've had to park miles away from the job. I've actually got to be careful here because I'm doing this on my phone, walking down the streets of London. If all of a sudden you see some guy at a balaclava going off with my phone during the podcast, then you know that I've been absolutely robbed.
On a scooter.
On a scooter or something, yeah. But no, I'm walking down, there's a river. I'm walking down, there's the River Thames for anyone that gives a shit.
It's something different, isn't it?
Yeah, listen, I'll do it anywhere, mate. We make sure this gets done no matter what.
We all do it anywhere. We all do it anywhere, but that's another conversation for another day.
Well, yeah, it is, yeah. Not at our age, we don't. But no, so that's me, mate, trying to get home from London in the pissing rain and a tube strike. So I'm walking into my car, and it'll probably be a 2-hour drive after this. So, yeah, we get this done no matter what. It's a massive week in boxing. It's a huge fight. And as busy as we both are, we had to get this episode in.
It's called commitment, guys. That's what it's called. It's called commitment. So as Dave's walking along, let's put up the first banner. Let's jump straight into the reviews for the time that we've got. I've wrote there on the screen, Big Mick gets the win, but there are still fears. Well, there's definitely fears for me. I wrote Big Mick there. For anybody that didn't see it, or 9 times out of 10 boxing fans have seen it. Last Friday, the 3 Arena in Dublin, 5,000 sellout. Mick Conlan was making a return to Ireland, if you like. Great crowd, Dave. Good vibes. Ring walks, fantastic. I've put there Big Mick because he looked massive. Now, I'm not suggesting that he's on anything at all. I'm talking about the opposite. We know that he had a break from boxing. He does a lot of marathons now. He clearly looks after himself at the age of 34. He's muscle bound. He's ripped. He looked like an Adonis. And that's what I mean by Big Mick. And he actually fought a little bit different as well. So I'll explain what I mean about fears before you jump in, Dave. Obviously, he took on Britain's Jack Bateson. Channel 5 are kind of over-egging the opponent, if you like. Don't get me wrong. I didn't realise he was part of Team GB, and he's a fighter that kind of has it kicked on from the Team GB days. We said last week that it should be relatively easy for Mick Conlan if he had the right mindset, and it was the opposite of the Asif Khan fight in Brighton back in March. But I saw something different from Mick Conlan on Friday night, Dave. I didn't see the skillful boxing, even though he used the jab and he used the feet well. I didn't see the slipping and the sliding. I didn't see the pivoting. I saw a big hench, Michael Conlan, now under Grant Smith, obviously Dalton Smith's dad, come forward and constantly look for that backhand left. Don't get me wrong. It's a different version of him. Looks like he's trying to knock his opponent out early. Is it a case of, I'll knock you out before you knock me out? But he got the knockout. I'm going to talk about the knockout as well, mate, what you thought of it. I fear for him. I'm going early. I fear for him because as he was looking for that backhand left, he was constantly overstretching. Now, if you remember the Daniel Dubois versus Anthony Joshua fight, it was a same kind of style or stance in that fight when he got caught. Now, we're going against the champions on this rebuild. If he fights like that, I'll knock you out before you knock me out. And he overstretches and overleans, he's going to get sparked the fuck out. Don't get me wrong, Channel 5, it was a good event, good crowd. I think they were over egging the performance as well. The knockout, Mick Conlan's back. He was obviously excited. It was a knockout. It was a great victory for him. All that comes on fair pace with him. But I'm kind of going in with a negative because it is a rebuild. It is a rebuild that he wants to become a world champion. But that style against the champions that are in the division at the moment, it's a nightmare. He's going to get knocked out. Apart from that, well done, Mick Conlan. Mick Conlan fighting up Big Mick, Dave. What did you think?
I thought it was an okay performance. It's horses for courses, like, you know. As he goes up, you can't fight the same way in every single fight. You can't, especially as you go up in quality. He was quite happy to walk forward, you know. And to be fair to him, that's brave considering we know he's chinny. You know, we know that he gets his lights literally put out. So, he doesn't look like he carries the ghost of that, to be fair, in that performance. Now, maybe he didn't respect Bateson's power. Maybe he didn't respect him. You know, he respects him as a fighter. They all do. But maybe he's looked at it and thought, there's no danger here, you know. Mm-hmm. So, and that's how I felt with the performance. He did look huge to Jack Bateson. He looked massive. But you can look great, you can bulk up, but you can't do anything with your chin. There's no weight to be able to take a shot. Now, the only worrying thing about the way that he performed in this fight is that overconfidence for me. If he thinks that he can go into every fight like that, and because take a shot, he's going to get taken out, especially as the quality it goes up, and it will. So I'm okay with the performance. I like the boxer. I like the Mick Conlan boxer. The skills. Listen, there's no doubt that he is one of the most polished boxers that the UK and Ireland have ever produced. I don't think that's a debate. Well, I don't want him to lose that. So listen, he got the win. It was a good win. The knockout was a good shot. It was a flush shot, but he twisted his ankle or broke his ankle on the way down. And then the fight was called off because of that. It wasn't called off because of that shot. Now,
mate, they didn't speak about that on the post-fight interview. They didn't really mention him shaking his foot and bending down to his ankle. They were kind of saying, "Well, that was a knockout of the year contender," which it wasn't. But it was a good shot. It
was a good shot. It wasn't a fight finisher for me. I've seen shots been taken like that before, flush shots like that before. He wasn't completely sparked out. It looked to me pretty much like a flash knockdown, but because of the ankle and everything else, and the way he got up and he sort of stumbled, the referees took it as if he's lights out. He wasn't. But listen, Mick got his homecoming. The crowd get behind him. There's never fantastic support the Irish. Even last week's episode, I questioned the goal, the world title goal. I'm still questioning that. Yes, it was a good performance, a good win, a confidence booster. It will be. He's had some devastating defeats, old Mick, but I still have them question marks. Like you said, Jack Bateson, he was a good amateur, part of Team GP. It's a good win, but it's not a world class win by any stretch of the imagination. No, and the levels that he needs to get to become a world champion, he's not there. He's definitely not there yet. Does he have the ability to do it? Yes, he does. We've always said that, and that for me hasn't gone away. But it only takes one shot and it's like any fight. It only takes one shot to take him out, and that's the worrying thing. And the way that he poured forward in that fight, and sort of, I wouldn't say neglected his defence, but wasn't concerned about what...
He did, Dave. Yeah, I think he neglected the defence. That's one thing he's been critical of him over the years. Yeah. The defence, where he switches off and drops his hands. He had his hands down kind of constantly because he was just looking for that knockout shot. This is my point. Is he moving forward in terms of trying to be a puncher and take care of his opponent's early doors because he knows the 36 minutes is going to get clipped? Or is it just, did he not overlook, did he not just respect Jack Bason's skills or his power? I thought, I know I'm going to knock you out, Sparko.
I think it's power. Yeah. I think in his mind, that fight was won. And I think that's the way he approached it that way. There was no, for me, he didn't approach that fight.
Losing you. I'm losing you a bit now.
Performing that fight like it was any jeopardy. Not for me.
Starting to lose you now, mate.
But you know, going forward, if he is stepping up in the levels, he cannot fight that way.
There must be a lot of high buildings
He needs to
where
go
you
back
are,
to
because
what
I'm
he's good
losing you.
at, and that is skills. Are you?
Yeah, I'm starting to lose you now. There must be a lot of high buildings because you're coming through very
got me back?
crackly. I can hear you now. I can hear the wind. I can hear you back. I got the gist of what you were saying about, you know, not neglecting his skills and things like that. Just quickly before we move on to Charlie Edwards on the undercard, if he is going to go for a world title, if he does get the opportunity, I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you now. If he's going to get the opportunity, fair play to him. Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Dave?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Now?
Yes, I can hear you. This is going to be a struggle, this one. Yes, I can hear you.
You hear me?
I can hear you, but you obviously can't hear me. I've kind of lost him a little bit here, guys. So I'm going to keep talking for the benefit of the podcast. Going forward with Mick Conlan.
You now, mate.
I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to do a bit of editing on this. Right, I've lost him. He'll obviously come back in a minute. Yes, as I was saying, guys, going forward with Mick Conlan, if he gets an opportunity to fight for a world title, again, go for it. You know, as I say, he's 34 now. He hasn't got many years left at the top. But if I was him, which I'm not, so I can't really be in a position to say, but there is big money fights out there for him, still down at 126 or 130, wherever he wants to fight at. You've obviously got the rematch with Lee Wood. He was coasting that fight before the money shot from Lee Wood knocked him out. You know, knockout of the year contender, if not the best knockout of that year a couple of years ago. He'll maybe wants to avenge that. There's a narrative there, and obviously Josh Warrington is the name that's being thrown out. Josh Warrington's coming to the end. He's had his world title shots, you know, whether he deserves them or not. And obviously he's been a world champion as well himself. Mick Conlan against Josh Warrington sells a lot of tickets, whether it's in Belfast, whether it's in Leeds, whether it's anywhere in the UK. Two names, two ticket sellers, two kind of football crowds, Ireland versus England, rhetoric there, narrative there. You can definitely build something there, but it's at the end of the day, it's down to Mick, it's down to his team, and obviously his promoters in Nissa and Callie Sowland. And I wish him all the best. I do wish him all the best. Big fans of Mick Conlan there, and hopefully one day he does become a world champion because he does kind of deserve it, you know. Charlie Edwards on the undercard. Now I've written there on the banner, guys. Charlie Edwards doing Charlie Edwards again. Last time out, we saw him against Andrew Kane, and it was a complete shit show. Hang on a minute, guys. Here comes Dave. Right, he's back again.
I'm just going to pull over. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. I've got to do a lot of editing on this episode for a change, but never mind.
Do you know what it was? It was behind. It was behind. So you were going, can I hear you? I was going, yes. And then about 2-3 seconds later, you were going, yes, I can hear you. So we were way off.
That's okay.
So you carry on, mate.
I'll sort it out. I've just moved on to Charlie Edwards, but quickly, as I was talking about Mick Conlan going forward, just want your quick thoughts on this. If he does get the opportunity to fight for a world championship again, go for it. However, there are money fights out there in his division with the likes of a Lee Wood rematch. There's a narrative there, how he was coasting and got knocked out. And the big money fight, obviously, is a ticket seller in him against Josh Warrington. Two big names, two football crowds, Belfast or even Leeds or anywhere in the UK. Does he go down the money route? Or does he go down the world title route? I'll back him either way, which way he wants to go. But if he doesn't go, I don't think he's probably good enough to beat any of the champions at the moment. So I would push for a Josh Warrington or a Lee Wood rematch.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. I think he's got to go for the big nights and the big money fights and the crowds and stuff. I think he's had his as much as I like him, I think that ship may have sailed when it comes to world titles. I think that it's the chin for me, mate. I say he usually switches off and he walks onto something, and that'll be the downfall. Whereas, listen, I'm not for 1 minute saying he can beat the guys that he's talking about in the rematch, but that's where the money is for him, and I think that's the narrative he should go down. To be honest with you.
Yeah, I totally agree. Charlie Edwards, mate, on the undercards, I put there Charlie Edwards doing Charlie Edwards again. We didn't see a vintage Charlie Edwards last time against Andrew Kane, back-footed, no output, 41 the fight. On Friday night, mate, he went back to doing what we know him to do. Front-footed fighter and back-footed fighter, pivoting, loads of shots, loads of combinations, in and out, making this Mexican kid miss. Very impressive with Charlie Edwards. He's probably gone back to the drawing board, realised he's made mistakes, and he's just gone back to doing what he knows best. I thought in times, Dave, at times, should I say, I mean, the scorecards twice was 99 to 91. Yeah. He made the Mexican look silly. He made it look very, very easy. And I'm glad to see Charlie Edwards fighting back that way. So no idea what happened in the Andrew Kane fight. No idea, but that's past. We move on. And I thought it was pretty impressive. Oh, is impressive the word? Because it was just a standard Charlie Edwards performance. I think. Yeah, if I'm going to say impressive with Charlie, I probably he has to get a knockout for me because, again, Charlie Edwards doing Charlie Edwards things really on Friday, mate.
Yeah, and this is the Charlie that we know, and that we whacked lyrical back. We loved the comeback fight, when he came back, and we thought he was great. I don't want to put it to a bad night in the office against Andrew Kane because it was just disappointing. I think he got a lot of criticism from that, and I think that showed in this fight at the weekend. Like I say, he didn't throw enough shots. For me, he righted that wrong, and he does exactly what we expect him to do. And when he does perform like that, he's impressive. And and there's nothing else we can sort of say that he's a very good boxer. When he puts his shots together, it was a weird performance. It was an odd performance. It was it was an awful performance. We were pissed off with it, and rightly so, because we expect better from that Charlie. This is a Charlie that we know and love. Now he's making some serious noise that I'm not so sure that he should be making, but they're fighters and they'll say these things. But he's calling out Rodriguez. That's a different kettle of fish for me, mate. You know how much I love that.
Just ask his brother. Just ask his brother.
Yeah, exactly. That's a different kettle of fish for me, mate. Listen, I know you've got to make the noise. He wants to have the big fights, but no one's beating Bam for me, mate. No one.
No, I have to second that, mate. I have to second that. And the opponent of the weekend, Salvador Juarez, I thought it could be. I was quite worried about this because obviously when he fought against Julio Cesar Martinez a few years ago, it's a disqualification, but he got absolutely smashed up, Charlie, by the Mexican. Yeah. I think this may be the first or second Mexican he's fought since. Someone that comes forward, throws loads of shots, stalks, high energy. He found it very easy, which was nice to see. There was no intimidation there. He just got back to basics. And again, moving on with Charlie, maybe another one at this level. And then next year, let's start calling out other champions. Mate, it's great he's calling out Bam Rodriguez. That's what we want to hear. We're not ducking anybody and things like that, but it is maybe a step too far for Charlie. There are other belts to get, but, to beat the best, you've got, to fight the best, you've got to beat the best. So I like the sound bites, and I like what I saw on Friday from Charlie Edwards, so it's a fair play to him. Over in I'm going to call it Sunderland. It's Houghton this spring. Saturday night on the zone, courtesy of Eddie Hearn and Matchroom. Pat McCormack, the kind of hometown boy, if you like. The whole weekend was full of hometown comings. I mean, don't get me wrong, Michael Conlan's from Belfast, but he was going back home to Ireland. He obviously lives in the United States and things like that. But Pat McCormack, headlining this show against Miguel Power in a WBA welterweight eliminator. Round 9, it became an RTD win for Pat McCormack. I mean, we said last week on the show, Eddie Hearn doesn't seem to wait. He does talk about him. He does hype him up, but there's other fighters he seems to be more fond of. And obviously, I get it. Pat McCormack's come out the Olympics and he's not had many fights. He's had injuries, so he's been a bit, stale, etc. But what I saw on Saturday night, Dave, against a decent, very, very tough Mexican who came to win. He threw probably threw too many punches in the early rounds and kind of gassed a little bit. Stayed in as long as he could. He got absolutely battered by Pat McCormack. And Pat McCormack, to be fair, he's not a. I like it. Every time I see him, I like him more and more. He's not a one-trick pony. He can box, he can move. His shot selection, body to head, his feet.
No.
He's got the fundamentals. You can see the amateur background all molding into one as a pro. I thought it was a very good fight. I was very impressed, and I want to see him out again. In fact, just a really, really good display from Pat McCormack. And before you jump in, mate, I know last week you said about you like to see people going down the British route and things like that. I would bypass the current welterweight British champion and Conor Walker. Now, massive fans of Conor on here, but to me, Pat McCormack's a level above. He's a level above Conor Walker just on the optic test. I would jump straight in and get either the winner, maybe not the winner, but the loser of Jack Catterall and Echo Esserman. I reckon he's ready to go there next. But yeah, before you make your kind of view on my prediction going forward with him, what did you make of Pat McCormack on Saturday night, mate? Looks like there's a delay. Looks like we've got a delay between me and Dave in the car. Hasn't gone through yet, so I'll carry on talking. Yeah, so I just made the statement there of Pat McCormack doing what we're accustomed to see of Pat McCormack in his pro career. But I think what I saw on Saturday night, he's more than ready to go toe-to-toe with an Echo Esserman. And obviously Jack Catterall fighting the likes of Harlem Eubank, no disrespect, and Echo Esserman when he was supposed to be fighting for world titles, fighting eliminator after eliminator, seems to be going backwards, in my opinion. Where Sam Jones is obviously weighing him in. He's the A side all the time, getting well paid, love it. But he's kind of going backwards in level of opponent. They've disappeared. He'll be back again. So I'd love to see Pat McCormack go straight in with one of those guys going forward. Obviously, if Jack Catterall wins, he may see it as a backward step and he won't want to touch Pat McCormack. So, yeah. And obviously, Josh Taylor's retired now, so he can't kind of jump up and go in with Josh Taylor and kind of better what Echo Esserman and Jack Catterall done. But all look very, very good in Sunderland on Saturday night. Hopefully, Dave will come back in a minute. Obviously, he's having problems in the car. It is what it is. I will still move on to the undercard, which we previewed last weekend. Sandy Ryan, the Lion Sandy Ryan, or Sexy Sandy, as I called her last weekend. She took on Jade Grierson, an undefeated fighter. We said last week that, let me get the banner up first when we're talking about Sandy. There we go, Sandy's shot selection. We said last week we did not know if we were going to get a angry version of Sandy or if we was going to get a feeling sorry for herself Sandy. Right, he's back again.
Can you? Yeah. Sorry, mate. I was talking about Pat McCormack. Yeah.
Yes, we was just talking about Pat McCormack. I said to you, I didn't catch anything of what you said. I thought there was a massive delay there. Yeah. So Pat McCormack, your thoughts on what you saw Friday night, and I did make the statement of him going forward, fighting maybe the loser of Jack Catterall against Echo Esserman, because I don't think the winner would want to kind of step back against Pat McCormack. They want to go forward. So yeah, Friday night's thoughts, mate. And where do you see him going next? And that's kind of two names I threw out there.
Yeah, sorry about that, mate. I've parked up now. Yeah, no, Pat, it's a good performance from Pat McCormack. Listen, he's caught between a rock and a hard place of being too good for the level that he's at the minute, and needs to be fast tracked, and like Benny Hearn and a few people being unsure whether to put him into the Lions Den so soon. Yes, he's got the amateur pedigree. We could sing and dance about his performances, his skill set. It's up there. You mentioned there before it went all funny about the route. I still think he should take the route. I know you're saying sort of bypass Conor Walker, but I like the traditional routes. And now I know he's turned over late and he's a little bit older and time's probably not on his side, but I still think he should go. I just think he should go next three fights is British, European, and maybe a fringe world level. Now I know you're saying, listen, Echo Esserman, and it's not because I don't think he's ready. And I don't think he's got the skill set. I think he does. I would like him to take that route. I don't want to see him. He's at now. Listen, this guy, he was way too good for him. He was way too good. Yes, it went 9, but he was way too good. I'd like to see him straight in Conor Walker next. That'd be a good fight for as long as it lasts. Pat McCormack is levels above Conor Walker. Conor Walker's a good fighter. We spoke about him being on great for an undercard. You know what he brings, and getting the crowd up and all that sort of jazz. Pat McCormack's levels above that. But I'd like him to take that route because say he goes in with a Jack Catchell encouragement and then starts to move up in the levels and doesn't quite make it. The titles are not there. You know, I'm not saying he's had a bad career, but you know, it'd always be nice to look back on and say, listen, I was British, I was European, I'd had all these things, and you know, and I took my shot at glory. I was a little bit short.
Losing you a lot again,
but,
mate.
Could be a little bit short, but have nothing for it. You know, Dave?
Yeah, I'm losing you a lot there, mate. Very, very patchy, very scratchy. Got bits and bats of that. What you were saying, going down the British route. Obviously, you'd like to see him go British, Commonwealth, European. Yeah, no, definitely. Look, I haven't got anything against that. I just look at the welterweight division as it is, and as we said last week, you got champions in there like Rolly Romero, and this weekend you've got Paddy Donovan against Lewis Crocker. Now, again, am I jumping the gun? No disrespect, but I think Pat McCormack beats Lewis Crocker all day long. I don't think Lewis Crocker is a world-level fighter, even though he's fighting for a world title the weekend, you know. So there are a lot of options in there which he can bypass and kind of fast track, as we said, to get to a world title. But if he wants to go down the British route, I'm all for it. I love the belts as well. Just think Conor Walker, how much we love him, he's a very good British level fighter, where at the moment I can see Pat McCormack maybe a level or maybe another level above, you know. But it is what it is, mate. We'll see what happens there. As you left us for the 84th time and came back, I was just talking about Sandy Ryan at the weekend, mate. Sexy Sandy. But by the way, what did you make of the old glasses, the old officer look with Sandy at the old presser?
Yeah. You know I like the glasses.
We all like Sandy. And I was saying, I wasn't going to mention that, but it was plastered all over her trunks and her vest, and subscription pending. But we said, didn't we? We don't. Obviously, she lost her world title by 2 back-to-back defeats from Michaela Mai. We didn't know what version we were going to get against an unbeaten fighter in Jay Grierson. And I put there, mate, Sandy's shot selection. I actually thought she boxed really, really well. Not just punched. I thought she boxed really, really well.
Yeah.
She was better with her feet, her range finding. She was getting in and out. There was combinations. There was body to head. She was admiring her work. Just wasn't a front forward stalking, I'm going to get you out of there. It looked like she wanted the round. She wanted to try new things out. Jade Grierson is tough as hell. But again, Sandy was probably a level or another level above. Yeah. But it was good to see her get some rounds. And it was good to see it as well, mate. Yeah. To see her try different things out. I haven't seen her kind of work to head to body, pivot out the way and make her opponent miss. She's a brawler, and that's no disrespect. She's a kind of a brawler, but they've been working things on the gym. So I liked everything I saw from Sandy. It would have topped it off with a knockout, but it's women's boxing, isn't it? So it doesn't always come until we talk about the next girl. But yeah, Sandy on Saturday night, mate. Impressed or not?
Yeah, I was. Listen, I think that she's had to go back to the drawing board and look and think. You know what? The brawling is one thing, but boxing is something else. And I think that with Michaela Mai, I think that's what she learned from that fight. I don't know whether you agree. And I think that's why she has to try to fight or box differently. If she wants to go, she's world champion anyway, but to take it to that next level, I think she needs to add boxing to her game, which is what I believe that she done in that fight. They said she was winning that fight, not a problem. Her opponent was tough as they come, like you said. Good for her. She's gone the distance with Sandy Ryan, which is great. But overall, she can do that. But she also needs to box as well, because that was the difference between her and Michaela Mai for me. Michaela Mai showed a little bit more and won the fight in the second fight more convincingly for me than the first. So that's what I took from that performance. It was more like
Yes, mate. Yeah, definitely. And going forward now with her, she's obviously after belts. They're tied up with Lauren Price and Michaela Mai. Michaela's not going to give her a third fight. Why would you? You're 2-0 down in the trilogy. You were well beat the second time. Lauren Price is obviously stuck at Boxer. We've lost Dave again, but he'll be back. We lost Lauren Price is obviously with Boxer at the moment, as far as we know, on the BBC. They've only got 4 dates a year. I'm hoping for her career that she kind of moves away from Ben Shalom and does find, even if it's with Jake Paul with MVP, and finds a new promote where she's out, a lot more. If she's out 4 times a year, fantastic. Then she doesn't have to move. But while she's waiting around, she needs to keep busy. And I do believe the welterweight division at 154 is where she should be. She should move up to 154, take care of some of the girls up there. There's a lot, again, not trying to be disrespectful, but there's a lot of cannon fodder up at the weight class above. And I think she can go up there, win a title, and then come back down and see where Lauren Price or Michaela Meyer maybe, or anybody else that's holding, those 4 versions of belts. So it was very impressive from Sandy against a very, very tough opponent. She landed some big shots to the body, but she stood there and took them. And I think Jay Grierson, even though the pool's quite shallow, as we say, she'd be a good opponent for some people. She'd be a good, I wouldn't say gatekeeper, but she'd be a good opponent for a lot of people. So hopefully Dave can come back again. Let's move on. And we're speaking about knockouts and knockout artists in the women's game. And obviously I've written there on my banner, ladies and gentlemen, I've written Tiah 316. Now, in our episode a couple of weeks ago, I put Moses 316, and I wasn't kind of referring to biblical terms. I was referring to Stone Cold Steve Austin of WWE wrestling, kind of a badass. And Tiah Mai Ayton is definitely the badass of women's boxing at the moment. 19 years of age, 2 fights, 2 knockouts, 2 impressive wins. I said last week on the podcast that whoever her opponents she's being fed at the moment, she'll get absolutely smoked. Excuse me. Her opponent, a French opponent at the weekend, was absolutely smoked. It was stopped in 4 rounds. She was battered. She was bruised. She was bleeding. She was bloody. It was the right decision by the referee. She was fantastic. We have got a superstar after 2 fights, in my opinion. And I have, as I said last week, I have jumped on the train. I am jumping the gun, but I don't care. I'll stand by my words. If I've got egg on my face, so be it. This is the next women's superstar in the female game in boxing. She's got the lot. She can punch, she can box, she can knock you out, she can move, she's got great feet. She's been fighting since she's the age of 6. Eddie's found a gem here. And I think, again, I'm not going to say rush her through straight away, but when you talk of things like Lomachenko and getting early title shots, because the women's division is so weak, there's no reason why now she can't be kind of into a British title fight. And I know not all the belts, there's a lot of vacant belts in the British titles when it comes to the females. And obviously she's fighting at bantamweight. And the British rank #1 is a girl called Ellie, I think it's Butel. Pardon me if I haven't said the name right. I think she's based out in China, but she's a Brit. Her versus Tiah Mai Ayton, who's ranked #4, put them together, get that British bantamweight belt on the line. I think it's a cracking fight. Cracking fight. She's going places, and I'm excited what I see. She's got the full package. She's got the lot, and I can't wait. I really can't wait to see what's next for her. I think Eddie's got a book to fight again in October against a TBA, but that TBA is getting smoked. It's as simple as that. Until we actually see a recognisable name that we know can throw and will go the distance or will go rounds with Tiah, then it's going to be kind of a profile build. But that profile build, unlike some of the male fighters, for X amount of reasons, will probably lead to a world title. She said on Saturday night and through fight week, she wanted to become not just a world champion, not just a unified champion, but she wanted to be a multiple-time undisputed champion of the world. That's big talk, but I think prospects coming through, if anybody can do it, I think Tiah Mai Ayton can do it. Definitely. So a lot to look forward to with her. Let's just have a look at my notes for what I wrote down. So obviously we didn't preview everything from the weekend, guys. Put them there a bit better. I did mention that the likes of Leo Atang and Adam Maka were also in action. Leo Atang and Adam Maka both getting first round stoppages of their opponents. Leo Atang is very, very impressive. Again, you could probably put Atang 316 because he's got two pro wins, 2 knockouts in the first round, kind of going down that destruction route. Again, level opponents. We'll see how he gets on when he steps up, but at the moment he's not doing anything wrong. Cameron Vong, we mentioned, was fighting here at the weekend against TBA. He did have a fight in the end. He fought a well-travelled Argentinian guy. I think it's something Arca. Got the win on points. I think this was over 8 rounds. Didn't know what to take of it, really. Everyone was calling, or that they are still calling for the Gavin Gwynn rematch. I think me and Dave are the only 2 guys on the planet that thought Cameron Vong did actually win that fight. but he didn't look great here. I mean, the guy had 20 losses on his record, had wins, had knockouts, so there was jeopardy there. You know, he's half decent Argentinian that can punch, but he's very, very beatable. So yeah, 20. I'm guessing Cameron Vaughn just needed the rounds, keep busy, got a few quid. But Gavin Gwynn is the fight people are calling for, and I think it's only a matter of time before Eddie makes that fight again. And then we had Troy Williamson against Mark Dickinson for the English super middleweight title. I said the British last time. My apologies, it wasn't the British. For the English title, Mark Dickinson missed weight at the weigh-in, so he was stripped. So the belt became vacant for Troy to win. Really, really good fight. Actually, really, really good fight. 50-50, in my opinion. Maybe not on paper. Obviously, Troy had lost 4 in 5, so he needed something. He needed to get some confidence from somewhere. He was in the fight, so was Dickinson. Landed a beautiful right in the 9th round. Buzzed his opponent, and what I liked about that, the referee gave Dickinson a chance. He was buzzed. He looked a little bit vacant, but Troy came out, the old Trojan, after the referee calling him back over. Smelt blood and went to detonate and finish off his opponent, and that's exactly what he did. The referee waved it off, and Troy Williamson became the new English super middleweight champion of England. So fair play to him, and he'll need something like that. If losing 4 in 5 ain't great for your confidence, it's not great for anything. Getting work as well, so hopefully he can rebuild from here and kind of go up to a next level, British or European. So good luck to Troy. All in all, it's a half decent show over in Sunderland. There's no sign of Dave coming back as of yet, so possibly I'm going to have to do this on my own. I don't like to stop and start really, because I don't like editing anything. I'm absolutely, for one, I don't like doing it. For two, I don't know how to do it, and 3, I can't be bothered. So I'll probably just leave it all in, but I won't stop. Let me just text him. Come back on. It's probably entertaining because it's live, isn't it? Well, kind of live. So yeah, right. Let's jump over to Mexico then. Again, it's the whole review is about homecomings. We're talking about a Mexican homecoming. I'm not even going to bother to pronounce Sugar Nunez' hometown, Los Maquillos. I think it's called. I had an attempt, probably wrong. His first title defense of his IBF super featherweight title since he beat Rikishi 5 months previous. We did say last week that it was a kind of a cherry pick. His opponent in Christian Diaz probably didn't deserve this world title shot, but that's boxing. Who deserves what? There's no kind of system, if you like, for who gets world title shots. But he got a title shot. We thought it'd be a bit of a showcase, put on a bit of a show for the hometown faithful. Bring his belt over, parade it, knock Diaz out, and we move on and get the Navarrete fight. Wasn't as simple as that. I've got there on my screen, Nunez versus Diaz, fight of the year contender. Really, really good fight. I've got to give props to Christopher Diaz. He started the better. He woke Nunez up in the 3rd round. Nunez started on the back foot for some strange reason. I'm not accustomed to seeing him doing that. Big shots landed, woke him up, and then kind of poked the bear, if you like. Again, we saw Nunez do what we're accustomed to seeing him do. Middle of the ring, high guard, throw loads of shots, body head. Diaz is tough, man. And I've found out as well that Nunez is he only a massive puncher, a relentless puncher, a guy that's got a massive gas tank and a stalker, energy, all that comes with it. He's got a chin as well because Diaz landed some big shots, huge shots, and he took them. He ate them all up, which is a positive going forward when he has to face the other champions. He's not easy. He's not a guy. He's a very hard guy to get rid of. Put it that way. But this was a close fight. It was a close fight. It kind of swung in Nunez's way. We got 2 knockdowns in round 7, both flash knockdowns, but that's irrelevant. They were both off punches. Both times he touched the canvas with his glove or his arse, so they were legit. So you've got a 10-7 in there, but it was a really entertaining fight. So anybody that hasn't watched it, I recommend to go and watch Nunez versus Diaz, because we had a fight at the Contender 5 months ago with Sugar Nunez and Rikishi over in Japan. This one was better. The championship rounds are fantastic, knocking fuck out of each other. You could even say it's a kind of like Morales Barrera Part 4. It was that good. It was Mexico versus Puerto Rico. Fantastic fight. Really good main event. I think there was about 18 fights on the card. Didn't see any of them bar this one. This was what it was all about. And yeah, the only thing to do next, here we go, is Dave. Is he coming back? Is he coming back? It's buffering. I can hear a buzz. I don't see any. There he is. He's back again. We have an absolute fucking nightmare here. I've kept waffling. You're back and forwards, back and forwards. You're back again. Can you hear me? I don't think he can hear me. He's looking at me, but he can't hear me. Yeah, well, he'll come back when he's good and ready. Yeah. Where was I now? I was talking about sugar. Yes. So anybody that watched it as well, you realised that Emmanuel Navarrete, the fight we've been calling for here on this podcast, the proper kind of Morales versus Barrera part 4, if you like, that's the one we want. Navarrete got in the ring. Eddie Hearn was in there with him, telling him to face off. They were both laughing and giggling, but it's the fight we want. It's a proper Mexican war. That ain't going 12. And to be fair, Navarrete is the only guy that stopped Diaz. He's the only guy that's put him on his arse and stopped him. So that's very, very interesting. You know, if he was going to pick the bigger puncher out of the two, I'd have probably gone Nunez, but maybe he's not. So that's a fight we definitely need to make going into 2026. So yeah, and I just want to give props to Christopher Diaz, guys. You know, the weight class he's at, he's much better than I thought he would be. I just thought he was a very good cherry pick in terms of that. It turned into a very good cherry pick in terms of it being a very, very good fight. He's not cannon fodder. And I always compare our guys in the same division. We've got the likes of Ryan Garner now, who I'm very high on. Obviously, Josh Paddy's up and down in the weights, and obviously Anto Kakachi. I think he's a hard night work for all those guys. I really, really do. He's a hard night's work. He just fought for a world title as well. He tried to grab his shot. You know, he nearly took it. But yeah, there'd be more work coming his way, 100%. Watch out for Christopher Diaz. If he's on any undercard fights in the future, I think I'll have a bit of a nosy what he's going to do or what he is doing, you know, on that weekend. So yeah, really good fight. It's up there for me for fight of the year contender. Fair play to both men. Lastly, another massive card. I think it was 14 or 15 fights over in Mexico. Nogales, I think I pronounced that one right. It's the hometown or home city, wherever it is, of Oscar Valdez. 10 rounds of action against Richard Medina. The guy was 10 years younger than him. Again, predicted a kind of a cherry pick for Oscar Valdez coming off that knockout defeat to Emmanuel Navarrete in his hometown. I think it's the first time he's boxed there as a pro. Again, I thought it was a bit of a showcase fight. Was it a good buy? Don't know what's going on. He kind of said it's not a good buy. You know, he still wants to carry on. It wasn't on. I thought this wasn't a top rank event. So after we'd done our podcast, I saw the poster and then realised it's got top rank written on the bottom of it. But it wasn't on ESPN. As we know, they've lost a deal. I couldn't find this fight anywhere, so I had to watch it on the Sunday morning, and it was on Box Azteca. So there was like a top rank / Box Azteca / Mexican Boxing Border Control kind of event, if you like. But let's talk about Oscar Valdez. Done exactly what he normally does. Starts fast. Those are combinations. Looks to get you out of there. And exactly what me and Dave said last week. He kind of declines during the fight. Mid-rounds, he kind of runs out of gas. When he realises he can't get rid of his opponent, he doesn't kind of change it up anymore. He just does the same thing. Medina was, again, a cherry pick that probably went wrong in terms of getting him out of there, but went right in terms of making a good fight, because it was a good fight. Medina was in there for the distance. I think that one of the scorecards was 100-90. It was an absolute disgrace. Medina won a good, in my opinion, a good 4 rounds. You know, I think Valdez done enough at the beginning of the fight to kind of edge it. But he had his moments, you know, he pushed Valdez all the way. He landed some big shots on him. At times I thought Valdez maybe looked a little bit vulnerable. Was he going to go down? Really, really tough opponent. Give it all his all in the championship rounds. Probably give 9 and 10 to Valdez. You know, fighting on heart and instinct, fighting on his sleeve, if you like. But I've written there in the banner, a very good gatekeeper. Again, I still think he's a very good fighter. But I can't see him being, for the champions that are there at the moment, I just can't see him being a world champion just yet. I think there's something missing from his game now, from his arsenal. And if you get past Oscar Valdez, then for me, you're ready for a world title shot, if you like, in terms of the gatekeeper kind of reference, because it's a shame Dave's not on here as well, because he'd probably say the same thing. It's a very, very hard one to set, if you like, because There are flashes there. You know, he can knock certain contenders out, not just prospects or bin men, if you like. He can knock them out. But there's just something lacking with him when it comes to the top table, you know. So, yeah, I'm not too sure. We will see him again, so he says. Where or when or whatever network he's going to be on, I'm not too sure. I want to see him again. I don't want him to call it a day, to be honest. There's still enough in the tank to do something, but that something for me ain't world title shots. And if he does get a world title shot, fair fucks to him, but I don't think he's going to win one. It's going to have to be the fight of his life. He's going to have to roll the years back to 4 or 5 years ago. Can he do it? I don't think so, but prove me wrong. I want every boxer to be successful, you know, so prove me wrong. So, yeah. So that was kind of it, guys, really, for the weekend. Just gone. Again, Dave's disappeared. He keeps texting me, this is an absolute nightmare. It hasn't worked, but it's one of those. It's one of those, you know, it can't be helped. He's working days and nights. He's traveling here, he's traveling there. Signals, receptions, Wi-Fi connections. You've got to go back to his another job. We've got something in anyway to kind of clarify the weekend. So performance of the weekend. I don't know who he's going for. I might text him so he can say. So I can say at the end of the podcast. But I'm going to be very biased. It's got to be Tiah Mai Ayton for me. And people will be watching thinking, well, yeah, look at the level of opponent she was against. She's got to be kind of Sugar Nunez because he was in more of a fight than we expected. Mick Conlan come back against, you know, an ex-Team GB. That's fair enough. But Tiah Mai Ayton is the package. She's got the lot. And we give a lot of love to female boxing, you know, on this podcast. And she's, you know, she excites me. She excites me in every way. And, you know, next time she fights, I think she's fighting at York Hall in Bethnal Green. Obviously, Dave lives down there. Hopefully, he can get to go down and watch her, see her in the flesh and see how nasty and spiteful she really is. And technically very, very good. So for me, performance of the week, it's got to go to Tiah Mai Ayton. I'm just texting Dave now to see if it gives his performance of the week because I won't be seeing him now because we've come to the end of the episode. But yeah, we are going to be back tomorrow. That'll be Thursday. That's going to be an absolute, fingers crossed, not a nightmare. Wherever it be recording from, but we've got to get it out for the simple reason is we've got Terence Crawford versus Canelo for undisputed at 168, probably the biggest fight of the year, a super fight if you like, and all the narrative and Terence Crawford jumping up and, you know, Canelo and not being the same kind of Canelo and Crawford not getting beat, the weight, the height, all that kind of thing involved. We need to preview it for the weekend, and obviously we've got one of our favorite fighters fighting on a Sunday. In Japan, Naira Inoue, the monster, again, another undisputed fight against probably one of the best fighters at super bantamweight in MJ Akhmadaliev. The fight we've been calling for ages. We'll give our thoughts, views, and opinions on that. We've got Lewis Crocker against Paddy Donovan, part 2. The rematch, that'd be interesting to see which way that goes. I've said my thoughts on both fighters, you know, in the past. I think it goes the same way, but we'll save our predictions for tomorrow. And the legend himself, Chocolatito, is also out on Friday night. Don't forget him and a couple of undercard bits and pieces as well. So my phone's buzzing before I fuck off and say goodbye. So yeah, he has texted me back, and I'm surprised which way he's going. There's a lot of bias on this podcast, as you well know, and he's gone the same way. Dave's gone for Tiah Mai Ayton as his performance of the week. I mean, if you haven't watched it, just go and watch the 4 rounds, guys. Special fighter. So yeah, we've got the same kind of thought process. And it would be interesting to see if we've got the same kind of thought process tomorrow when we talk Canelo versus Crawford. So I'm gonna love you and leave you. That's the end of podcast episode 142. As I said, we'll be back tomorrow. This goes out on a Wednesday. Please listen. Please like, share, and subscribe as well, guys. If you're new or if you're not new, if you're just a regular listener, please just like, share, and subscribe. It does help with the algorithms and in finding our content. You know how it works on YouTube. And yeah, have a good evening. Stay safe. And I hope you enjoyed this episode for what it's worth. You haven't seen much of Dave. You've just seen this ugly Dave. So yeah, hopefully he'll be back ready to go and rocking whatever airport, coffee shop, or street he's in tomorrow. So until then, have a good evening. Take care. Peace out.